The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Hi there, gang. Welcome. Let me get my slides happening for you. So, Happy New Year! Man,
Happy New Year! Woo!
this is it, Teresa, 2018.
It's going to be a great year, David.
Unbelievable. If 2017 is any indication, yes, sign me up. Sign me
Yes,
up.
yes, yes.
So, I thought we'd do a little social media sharing here. We got about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to the top of the hour here. Huge response to this masterclass webinar. If you guys are on here, make sure you can hear and see everything okay. And then pop out real quick to social media. Pop out to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, whatever your favorite tool of choice is, and tell them that you're here. Tell them that if they want to raise their speaking fees, they should go to speakingfees.com. And thank you in advance for sharing the love. But we'll see if we can get some social media juice in here. This is always a juicy crowd. I know that these guys have some pull. So Alvin's here, and Becca, Brian, Carol, Chester, Danae, Dana, Daryl, David, Dee, Don, Ed, Edie, Eric, Gabby, Glory, Graham, Eileen, James, Janine, Jeff, Jennifer, the other Jennifer, Jesse, Jill, John, the amazing John Garrett, Judy, Julie, Karen, Catherine's here, Kathy, Keith Johnston, how are you, buddy? Great to see you. Kelly Orchard from our Speaker Profit Formula family in the house. Also, Kip is here from our Speaker Profit Formula family. Lauren, Lena, Lisa, Lizette, Liz, Lynn, Maggie, Marcy, Margarita, Mark, Mariah, Matt, Michael, the other Michael, Mike, Nancy, Nelson, Nikki. It goes on and on. I know that this crowd has pull. This crowd has pull, Teresa. So
Pulling it up direction. Let's hope.
Even as we get rolling here, feel free to spread the word on social media that you're here. Invite your pals. The link is speakingfees.com. I think I put that in the chat a minute ago. I'll put it in here as we get rolling. And let's get rolling. Let's get right into it. So welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. This is great to have you here. Let's get right to who this is for. This is for anyone who sells their expertise, knowledge, or wisdom, meaning speakers, consultants, trainers, coaches, experts, authors, course creators, information marketers, what Teresa and I like to call speaking-driven professionals. So if you use your knowledge to solve a major business problem, this is for you. This is for you. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to talk about the economic reality of speaking fees. We're going to do some myth busting along the way. We're going to talk about some very real financial marketing and selling dangers of charging too little. There's never dangers in charging too much, or we'll address those, we'll debunk those, but there are huge dangers of charging too little. Talk about how to put your fee in perspective. So it's not only a reasonable fee, it's a great deal. We're going to talk about avoiding pricing landmines. We're going to give you some exact word-for-word scripting on how to talk about your price and how not to. How and when and where to have that fee discussion without screwing it up, blowing it up, or feeling weird or pushy or salesy or awkward, or sending you into some kind of crazy panic zone around talking about money. So if you have the scripts and you have the mindset, this all becomes much easier. And then we'll talk about some next steps to help you make it happen. So, as always, I'm going to encourage you to hang out until the bitter end for some super useful gifts and surprises that we have for you. And of course, Teresa and I always like to hang out for the Q&A at the end to make sure that every question is answered. And if we don't answer it on the call, we'll give you some resources and some time after the call for us to chat and talk about your specific situation one-on-one. So let's do a quick poll. I've done all kinds of polls and interactive stuff before. Never asked this question. And I know we have a high-performing, awesome group here. I'm not going to ask you if you got paid. I'm not going to ask you when's the last time you got paid. I'm not going to ask you what your average fee is. I'm not going to ask what you're asking and getting. I'm asking you, what is the highest fee that you've been paid as a speaker? The highest fee, that zenith, whatever that was, $7,500, $9,500, $10,000, $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 is the ballpark that most of our clients operate in. But what was that highest number ever for you? Even if you only did it once. And I guess I'm talking about you only did it once because that would be your highest super duper most premium fee. Type that in the question box and let's see how high is this group really going to go?
We've got some good ones in here, David.
I will throw out my number, and this is, I'm telling you where we're going with this. I'm going to tip my hand. Teresa, is it okay if I tip my hand?
Please do. Please do.
We're going to talk about consistency on today's webinar, on today's masterclass. So I will tell you that the highest I've been paid for a program was a 2-day program for a hospital in upstate New York. This was like 2007, 2008, and it was $20,000. Now, if I had been making 2-day programs, $20,000 all year, every year since then, we'd be having a very different kind of conversation today. But that was an all-time high. That was an all-time high. Translate that, by the way, into today's dollars. That's probably more like $25,000 or $26,000. Just so you do a little inflation catch up on that. So, what are some of these high numbers that people are putting in, Teresa? What numbers are you seeing?
We got 1,500. Then that jumps to 13,000 for a 1-hour talk. 4,500, 10K, 7K, 5K. We got 135K from somebody one time.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be great consistency, right? Yeah. 20,000, 6,500, 1,000, 10,000. Wow, all over. We've got
I like
85, 6, 12, 5. Goes on and on.
Yep. Totally awesome. Totally awesome. So here is the next question then. Wherever you are, I know we're in this new year mode and kind of launching off into 2018, looking over the last 12 months as an expert who speaks professionally, not just a keynoter, as a trainer, as a consultant, as a coach, as a facilitator, as one of those speaking-driven professionals that we talked about, are you completely happy with the financial results that you generated? Meaning the level of sales, the level of personal income that you took home, and the financial level and the financial quality of the clients that you worked with. Are you 100% happy? And another way that Teresa and I often ask this, if 2018 turned out exactly like 2017, how would you feel about that? So in other words, if we fast forward the clock 1 year from today and your results are identical to the past 12 months, are you feeling awesome? Are you feeling so-so? Are you feeling terrible? Are you feeling, oh my God, something has to change? Are you feeling, oh my God, I need to be further along by now? So are you happy? You can ask that question whatever way. Use the this year, next year analogy, or just very simple question. Are you totally happy with the financial results that you generated over the last 12 months in terms of sales, in terms of personal take-home income, and in terms of the caliber and quality of clients that you're serving? And Teresa, what's our happiness factor?
Well, it's not, a few people are saying it was okay, not stellar. We've got not pipeline not full enough. We have no with a lot of exclamation points. We have an oh my God SHTC, LOL. I'm not sure what that means. We have no, not happy, not enough gigs, not good. It needs to be better. We've got not consistent, not enough gigs. And then we have a run of no.
Got it.
And then an oh my God, something has to change.
Fair enough. Well, that's why you're here, guys. And again, I'm not asking any of these questions to make you feel good or bad. I'm asking so that we get a benchmark of where you are now so that we can improve it. I mean, obviously, if we have some kind of delusional, hey, I'm doing okay, everything is wonderful, peachy and keen, you're probably not going to take action. You're probably not going to make changes. You're probably not going to rip the Band-Aid off of complacency and doing okay. You know, you didn't start your entrepreneurial dream to just be doing okay, to be, bringing in 60, 80, 100, 150, 200K. You probably started your entrepreneurial dream to make a lot more. And a lot of the folks that we talk to, when we get on a call to discuss where they are in their business and what needs fixing and how we can kind of diagnose what's really going on and fix what's broken and improve what's working, they say, I just thought I'd be further along by now. I just thought I'd be further along by now. So we want to give you some of the tools and insights so that you are going to get further along faster and quicker and smarter. And so I'm not doing any of this questioning to kind of poke holes in what you're doing, but obviously if there's room for improvement, let's go for that improvement. Now, I mentioned I kind of tipped my hand earlier because we got a smart group here. You just put some fantastic numbers on the scoreboard here. 5 grand, 7 grand, 10 grand, 135,000, 70,000, 50,000, 30,000, 5,000, 9,000, all those great numbers that we just saw. What's the number one thing, honestly, looking at your business in as cold and an objective and as neutral way as you can? What has kept you from bringing in those type of engagements consistently? The magic word here is consistent, meaning month after month after month, rain or shine, happy or sad, feel like it or not. What's missing for you? Some people say, well, it's a outbound sales process. Some people say, well, I don't have my topics dialed in. Some people say, well, I don't know where to find the prospects. Lead generation is my big stumbling block with the consistency. So I'm curious for you, what's the number one thing keeping you from a consistent flow of clients and cash and audiences that you would love to work with and that you would love to serve? And what's that number one thing keeping you from that consistent financial success where if you found them, if you connected with them, and if they all had your fee that you're asking, life would be amazing? What's the number one thing? Because then we'll try and spend the rest of our time together unpacking and chipping away at that big boulder that's in your way. So Teresa, what obstacles are people saying is their number one thing keeping them away from that magic of consistency?
Well, not surprising, lead generation, finding the right leads, confidence, lots of mindset, not understanding how to market myself, probably positioning, not taking consistent action. That's a big one. Plan and mindset, outreach, maybe some outreach reluctance, as we find quite often. Lead generation, not good at closing the sale, so getting them on the phone but not making it into business, turning it into business. And then I need to do the work, finding the connections. Right now, the bureaus don't do the work. Nope, they don't.
Yeah, for sure. All right, excellent. So keeping those obstacles in mind for the rest of our time together, let's see if we can remove some of these, at least chip away significantly at them, and get you in much better shape as far as clarity. The purpose, I think, Teresa, of all of our trainings, all of our Facebook Lives, all of our webinars, all of our content marketing, is to give people clarity of where they are, where they want to go, and how simple some of the steps are to get there if they're willing to commit, if they're willing to be decisive and committed and no longer willing to take excuses. And again, trust me, guys, I'm the king of excuses. I am, I've been in previous years, in the first 10 or 11 years of my 16 years in business, I started this crazy thing in 2002. First 6 years were a train wreck. Didn't really know what I was doing until year 7 or year 8. And then even as I started getting successful, I was my own worst enemy. I was the guy that was in my own way the most. It wasn't the prospects. It wasn't the lead generation. It wasn't the technology. It was mindset, belief, commitment, and conviction. So if you guys leave here today with some mindset, beliefs, commitment, and conviction, we will have done a fantastic service for you. And some strategies, and some scripts, and some things you can use right away. But really, I could give you all the world's best scripts and templates and tools, and if your mindset's not right, none of it's going to work. In fact, you wouldn't even pick up the tools. You wouldn't even implement the templates or the scripts if your mindset's not right. So it's always mindset before skill set, guys. Write that one down. Mindset before skill set. If your mindset is weak, I could give you the world's best tools, and you'd be just a hopeless mess. How do I know? Because I had all kinds of great tools. I had all kinds of great mentors at my disposal, and I was a hopeless mess because my mindset wasn't right. All right. So here's a quick story, and this is kind of a sad example of how speaking fees can really, really screw us up, and I mean screw us up badly. So a few years ago, I worked with a 15-plus year veteran speaker, certified speaking professional, very successful, operated out of the Midwest of the U.S., not that that matters, but just super successful woman, had pivoted and shifted her topic a few times, changed markets, changed topics. She comes to me totally befuddled, totally just in this tizzy about speaking fees. Here's what she says to me: David, I just don't know anymore. I've charged $1,500. I've charged $15,000. I don't know what to charge in the marketplace. I really just don't know anymore. You tell me. You tell me. Where should I be? Imagine that, totally untethered from any economic reality, any connection of her value, her impact, her results, her outcomes, any client-centric or audience-centric monetization of what she does. No idea. Didn't know if she should have been a $1,500 speaker or a $15,000 speaker or anywhere in between. That's how scary and that's how out of control and disconnected this can get, unless you have some of the strategies and tactics and frameworks that we're going to share with you today. So don't be that person. 3 scary fee mistakes. Let's get right to the fun stuff here. Number 1, I don't know what to charge. And this is mostly for kind of early to mid-career speakers that maybe haven't done a very thorough competitive analysis. You don't know kind of what the range is. You don't know where you fit into your prospects world. And that can happen. A little bit of education, a little bit of a competitive scan, and some becoming a student of the game would help you here. But that's number 1. Number 2, and Teresa and I see this a lot more. I know what I should charge, and I know I charge too little. I know my market rate, and I know that I'm below it. I mean, okay, now talk about a dysfunctional statement there. I know I charge too little, and there's ways to fix that. We'll work towards fixing that for you today. Or the third one, I quote my price, but I never get my price, meaning I always cave. I always go down. They say, oh, all we have is $500. You take the $500. Sometimes caving even means going down to zero. Caving down to zero. So which one is yours? Out of those 3 big pricing fee killers, you don't know what to charge. That's number 1. Don't know. Just type in don't know in the question box. Number 2, you know that you're undercharging, right? Because you can't connect with the right prospects that have the budget. You know that you're coming in too cheap. Or 3 is that you try and charge the market rate that you think you deserve, but you end up caving on price. And you end up going down, 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 playing the game, how low can we go? Sometimes even going down to zero. So that third category is caving, sometimes even caving to zero when they don't have the fee. So let me review what these 3 are. Don't know what to charge is number 1. Just type in don't know. I know I charge too little. You can just type in too little. And then cave on price. So don't know, too low or too little, and then cave. Teresa, what kind of fee cancer are we dealing with?
Man, we got a lot of people living in the caves, that's for sure.
Living
The dark,
in caves,
deep,
I love it.
the deep, dark cave. But then there's also a lot of people, wow, I don't know. I always cave on price. All of the above we have. We have a little too cheap, underpriced, too little sometimes, caving sometimes, so little combination disease there.
Yes.
Don't know how to say I speak for free. I don't speak for free. Yeah, most don't pay at all is what someone is under the impression of.
Well, let me give you a quick example here from Glenn Carver. And Glenn came through our program, and this came in over the summer. As you can see here, it's an email. Hope you had a nice Labor Day weekend. Just printed off everything. Delivered 2 free talks to 2 CEO groups. So right there is key number 1. Glenn came in as a very generalist kind of speaker, didn't know where he was getting paid or who he was getting paid by. Based on his topic, we decided that small to mid-market CEOs were his best and highest audience. So he says, I delivered 2 free talks to 2 CEO groups, so that's speaking as a lead generating activity. That wasn't the ultimate end result. It's not like, hey, go out and give free speeches for no reason, but it's speaking as a marketing tool. That generated a $2,500 gig and a $5,000 gig. Because he also does some long-term consulting. The $2,500 gig should turn into my first long-term client. Keep you posted. Also, I quoted my keynote fee at $7,500 for the very first time. So the specificity and the decisions that Glenn made, and we help our clients with this kind of specificity and decision making and definition, because the two most powerful words in marketing and in sales are define and decide. Define and decide, define and decide. Write those down, guys. Define and decide. Define your audience, define your topic, define the problem that you solve. Decide what you want to be doing and who you want to be doing it for and with. And then focus 100% of your energy on the outcome of those decisions, and you will stop being a wandering generality. It is very tough to get a high fee if you're a wandering generality, and it's very easy to command a high fee by solving specific problems for specific types of clients. So, speaking fees are random. Speaking fees are not random. This is a huge myth that, one guy charges 5, one guy charges 10, this woman's charging 7,500, she charges 12. Fees reflect the economic reality of your value and the economic reality of your positioning. And we're going to talk about this in a moment. But fees reflect reality. When someone comes to us, like the client I told you about a few minutes ago, hey, I'm 1,500, I'm 15,000, I don't know anymore, you tell me. She hasn't lost touch with her fee, guys. She's lost touch with reality. That's what makes this so heartbreaking. This is not about losing touch with your fees. This is about losing touch with reality of what you do and who you do it for and why it's so valuable to them. Very, very important distinction. The number one biggest myth that might be holding you back right now is this concept that your fee is dependent on their budget. And I'm here to tell you, we're making bumper stickers on this one, guys. So Teresa, make a note. Morgan, make a note. This is our first bumper sticker. My fee is not dependent on your budget.
Amen.
Amen, sister. Amen. Preach it. Preach it,
Preach
sister.
I'm gonna get an amen up in here.
Oh my God, right? I mean, we see this all the time. The nice way of saying this, when Teresa and I are feeling nice, is this is reactive pricing. This is reactive pricing. When we're not feeling so nice, we say this is the dumbest possible way to make money in this business, period, end of sentence. So please, please, please don't make that mistake. My fee is never dependent on your budget. So again, how do I speak so passionately and articulately about this? I spent years between these two destinations, lost and very lost. Spent a lot of years slowly going broke. Started out my business in January of 2002, which I still can't believe it's been all those years. My first gig, I charged $900 for a time management class in January of 2002. I had many, many $0 months after that. I think it was 9 months, actually, until I made a dime after that first thing. I got cash infusions from family. I'm not proud of that, but, thank God for mom and dad supporting crazy entrepreneurial dreams, and racked up $40,000 of credit card debt before I was able to turn things around. I was literally at one point one step away from throwing in the towel and getting a job job. So the turning point came when I got serious. One of the things that I teach and preach to this day is get serious, get help, or get out. Get serious, get help, or get out. And I first started to take that bitter medicine myself. I needed to get help. I knew I needed to get help. So I invested money I didn't have to buy high-end mentoring from experts who were doing what I wanted to do. And I committed to following their teachings to the letter. No more distractions, no more shiny object syndrome. I got focused, I got going, and I got huge results. So believe me, gang, I get it. I started at zero. I made every mistake in the book. I made the good ones twice. Nothing of what we're teaching today is theory or maybes or guesswork. And this is also the foundation of our mentorship program, where we've coached and mentored 500 other speakers in every imaginable topic and niche and level. So this is a proven, repeatable, reliable process and formula that we're sharing with you. And this is also exactly what I've done in my own business to consistently reach multiple six figures and earn my certified speaking professional designation from the National Speakers Association. So here's what it takes. And this is kind of a benchmark. I want you to be honest and assess yourself on this. You know, it's New Year's time. I'm not a big believer in New Year's resolutions because those fade. What does not fade is resolve. You need to resolve to improve things. You need to be completely committed. You need to be seriously decisive that this is your moment to turn things around. This is the turning point, and you are tired of waiting. So if you're an action taker, you are prepared to stop waiting around to get lucky. I remember saying this to my wife and saying this to everybody. You know, I'm just waiting for it to click. I'm just waiting for it to take hold. I'm just waiting for, to be discovered. It's so awesome. I'm so fantastic. I'm broke, but I'm awesome and fantastic. I'm just waiting for the world to catch up with how brilliant I am. No. So what you need to do is you need to craft your exact plan of exactly what you want and how you want it and what kind of speaking and what kind of business model, what kind of revenue model, what kind of service model. You need to get some help figuring out the exact steps, which we're going to do later on today right here. And then you need to resolve the commitment and the decisiveness to take action and make it happen. Because I will tell you, until I kicked my own ass, pardon my French, until I kicked my own ass, nothing got better. Nothing got better. I wish I had reached out for the help that I reached out for sooner. I wish I'd reached out for the help I reached out for earlier. But it was better late than never, and it caused an entire inflection point and a hockey stick result in my business. So, let's talk about the economic reality of speaking fees. This is from Smart Meetings Magazine. This is how your fee either supports or undermines the perception of your expertise. When you do a lot of speaking for free as an unpaid speaker, not as a marketing activity now, but as a quote-unquote free speaker, the meeting planners, because Smart Meetings Magazine only goes to meeting planners and conference producers and association executives who hire people like us. This is according to them, not according to me. Mediocre, just starting out. $1,000 to $2,500, so you get what you pay for. Ouch, painful, right? Beginner. $2,500 to $5,000 fee, the positioning is you're just transitioning from part-time. $5K to $10K, in the words of the meetings industry, now we know that we're hiring a true professional. And $10,000 and above, some kind of bestseller, minor celebrity, marquee name, that can go anywhere from 10,000, 50,000, 200,000 and on up as all kinds of crazy, nutty speaking fees. Here's what I want you to be, guys. I want you to be at least here. Many of the clients we work with are at 10, 12, 15, 18, or 20, but this is your baseline. This is your baseline. If you're making less than 5K, you are betraying your own positioning. Don't believe me, look at this chart. Look at this chart on your screen right now. Your positioning is mediocre, just starting out, newbie, amateur, dilettante, dabbler. You get what you pay for. Oh my gosh, they're not very good. They're going to be disappointing. They're going to let you down. Oh, they're not even a full-timer yet. They're just transitioning. They're just kind of dabbling. They're sticking their toe in the water. Transition from a part-time, amateur, hobbyist kind of speaker. You guys are not amateurs. You guys are not hobbyists. You guys are serious experts who speak professionally, but the moment you charge like an amateur, you're perceived as an amateur. Let me repeat that. The moment you start charging like an amateur, or you go back to charging like an amateur in case you've already hit that high, now you're caving back in. The moment you start charging like an amateur, they see you as an amateur. When you charge as a professional, they see you as a professional. And it's actually easier to get a $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 check than it is to get a $1,000 or a $2,000 check I would not have believed this coming up in the industry myself. I was always, when you want quick money, the first thing that you think to do is to cut your fee, because there's more people that can afford cheap that can afford premium. That's what you think. That's what you think. It's completely backwards. It's completely wrong. If you want to make money quickly, you need to go into that hiring a true professional bracket as soon as you possibly can, like this afternoon, or like tomorrow, or like tonight, or wherever you are in the globe, ASAP, as soon as possible. Let me tell you about Nancy, who came across my doorstep a few years ago. Nancy was stuck on this low-fee gig-to-gig hamster wheel. Super smart woman, had great content. Here's what she said. All I'm finding is low-fee and no-fee gigs. She lived in Buffalo, New York. I can't get out of Buffalo. I am stuck. I'm getting the ladies' auxiliary in the church basement. I'm getting the local chamber, $200, $300. Did a gig last week in a pizza place. And so the problem with this is that if that's where she's fishing, that's the fish she's going to catch. And what I told her, even before I get to that, what I told her was, Nancy, I get it. But the fact that all you're finding is low fee and no fee gigs, that's not the problem. The problem is that you're taking them. The problem is that you're taking them. So if you continue to look for love in all the wrong places, you've got no context, no comparison, no firsthand knowledge of what a good client would actually pay you, because you're looking for love in the ladies' auxiliary and the local chamber and the pizza place and the church basement. So let me tell you another flip side experience of this with what I was able to do at QVC here in suburban Philadelphia back in 2005, which is now 13 years ago. I sat down with the VP of Learning and Development. I had a self-published book. I thought I was the bomb. I thought I could just charge whatever I wanted to. So I presented her a $6,000 fee. This is back in 2005, mind you. And here's the exact words that left her mouth. Actually, the first thing that left her mouth was the sharp intake of breath, like, oh, the high-priced gasp. The next thing that left her lips after the high-priced gasp was the following statement. In 2005, we're not used to paying any more than $4,500 for a one-day program. This is a corporate decision maker, an economic buyer. We're not used to paying any more than $4,500 for a one-day program. So today, by the way, if you do the inflation math on that, that would be $5,593.07. So here's a wake-up call, guys. Here's a wake-up call. I know, seeing the roster of names on this call, many of you are above that level, and that's great. But whatever fee level you've been getting for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, my guess is it's not high enough and it hasn't moved quick enough. So the question is, why aren't you charging at least what low-level, no-name trainers and speakers like me were charging and getting more than 12 years ago? Meaning $4,500, $5,500, $7,500 fees. For some of you, you're undercharging, but your undercharging is you've been at $10,000 for too long, and it's time to move you up. You've been at $12,000 for too long, and it's time to move you up. You've been at $15,000 and stagnating there for too long, and we need to move you up. So this is not about fee level in an absolute sense. Although if you're below market rates, then you have a whole nother problem with the perception and the positioning. But wherever you are, whatever level you're playing at, it's time to level up. It's time to level up. It's time to get better prospects, have better, more proactive sales conversations, and start charging and getting higher fees than you've been comfortable with because you've been comfortable, because you've been complacent, because you thought that's what the market would bear, and you don't dare charge any more than that, and your fee might be stuck for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And we've worked with clients in all those buckets, by the way. So here's some client success from Lisa Hain. Within my first 2 weeks in the program, I used your material to close a speaking engagement for $5,000. I used your exact coaching and tools to sway the client to choose me when their board voted on a keynote speaker. I knew I needed help with sealing the deal once I had a client on the line. I now know how to do this with every prospect going forward. Imagine if you had that clarity. I now know how to seal the deal, what language to use, how to frame the value, how to put the fee in context that we'll talk about here in a moment. I know how to do this with every prospect going forward. Imagine how that would feel. That if you just had this sales conversation dialed in where your own fee was no longer a crisis point in that sales conversation. Teresa and I laugh about this all the time. That if you're presenting your fee and your fee is some crisis, your fee is some catastrophe when it comes time to name your number, you got a serious mindset problem, right? Your fee, I love talking about my fee. It is my favorite part of the sales conversation every single time because that's when I get to exchange money for value. And I know that I'm helping them and serving them 3 times, 5 times, 10 times their investment. We're going to get to that conversation in a moment. The template for that fee setting sales conversation that's coming up. But I want you to be anchored in this for a minute. In fact, type in the question box, how would it feel if you mastered the money conversation in your world? Not just for speaking, but for everything. For keynotes, workshops, seminars, training, coaching, consulting, your mentorship programs, your masterminds, your online stuff, everything. How would you feel just personally, professionally, emotionally, if that monetary part of the sales conversation was now a piece of cake? What payoff would that be for you emotionally? Teresa, how are people feeling about mastering that money conversation that we're going to teach them today?
The world would be a better place. It would feel awesome, great, much stress would be gone, relaxed and excited. Jane says, I'd feel like I was in control, honoring myself and my value. Pam says, uplifted. Annette says, it would take the fear away. Judy says, it would wonderful relief. Harry says, would feel good.
Like it. Love it. Very nice. All right. Well, let's get going towards that. This whole fee setting discussion, it's just worth mentioning real quick. It's not about you making more money. Now, one of the side benefits, of course, you'll make more money. Sorry, bad news. I hate to break it to you. You'll make more money. This is not about what you need to earn, however. This entire conversation is what you need to get paid by them for them to take you seriously. Will you make more money if you implement this? Of course you will. But it's not even about that. It's about not letting a low fee undermine your expertise or undermine the perception of your value. All right. So the only 3 reasons that you're accepting less money than you deserve, write these down. Number 1, no clear business model and revenue model, and you're going to get one of these here in the next few minutes. Number 2 is low self-worth, low self-esteem. In other words, you have not connected your value and your content and the transformation that you deliver with what that client really and truly needs in terms of leadership, sales, marketing, team building, customer service, diet, wellness, weight loss, the banking industry, the construction industry, the chemical industry. We've had folks in all kinds of niches, all kinds of industries, but you're pricing in a vacuum and you're not connecting your fee to your ultimate end results and outcomes. That's number 2. Number 3 is simply no intelligent prospecting activity on your part and no proactive sales process. So you're essentially held hostage by whatever fee they want to pay you when they come across your transom. So all 3 of these things are bad. No clear business and revenue model. We're going to unpack that here in a second. Low self-worth, low self-esteem. By the end of today's masterclass, you should have some of that dialed in. And then no intelligent prospecting, no proactive sales process. That's always bad no matter what. So let's talk about the phantom $5,000 speech. The phantom 5K speech that looks really, really good. So let's say that your speaking fee is $7,500. Let's just go down this example with that in mind. You find a gig that's willing to pay you $5,000. And you figure, okay, well, that's better than making $0 that day. So you do the gig. You get all set. You get on a plane. You go. You do the gig. They clap. Yay. Wonderful. Woohoo. You come home and it's all great. So question for you is, how much did you make? How much money did you make? Go ahead and type in the question box. Your fee is $7,500. You find a gig that's willing to take 5, so you take 5. How much money did you make? Go ahead and type the number in the question box for how much money you made that day. And Teresa, we don't need to read those out loud yet because we're coming up to the punchline. But I want to give folks a second to type in the number of how much they feel they made that day when they got paid $5,000, but they're a $7,500 speaker. So keep typing. I'll keep talking. Here's the problem with the Phantom 5K speech. And here's where a lot of speakers screw this up. Your revenue model is, I'm anchored at $7,500. I would like to go out 3 times a month. I would like to earn $22,500. That's 3 times 75. That is my revenue model. That's what I'm building my business on. If you build a business on a weak revenue model, you've got a weak business. If you build your business on a strong revenue model, you've got a strong business. You just took one of those $7,500 slots and you replaced it with a value of 5K. So you need to be anchored in the reality that you actually just lost $2,500. You did not make 5. You're actually negative 2,500 because you have betrayed your own revenue model. You have betrayed, and I've used that word very intentionally, you've betrayed your own revenue model. Here is what you should have done, or at least should have considered. You spent 1.5 days of travel, I'm assuming 3/4 of a day to get there, dinner with the client, the next day on site, 3/4 of a day coming home. I'm being very tight with that. It's usually, you might even call it 3 days, but let's call it 2.5 days. 1.5 days of travel, 1 day on site doing the gig. Rather than let me say thanks, no thanks. Let me spend these 2.5 days working really hard with some intelligent outreach, some prospecting, some outbound activity, getting referrals, getting introduced, getting some repeat business from a past client. Let me focus really hard for 2.5 days straight on getting my next $7,500 gig. Now you'd be in sync with your revenue model, and you'd be in a position to accelerate beyond that revenue model, not fall behind it. When you're taking the $5,000 gig, here's what now has to happen. You have to charge someone else $10,000. Good luck doing that if you can't even find the $7,500 gig, because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where you're looking for love in all the wrong places, right? Or you got to work harder. Now you have to find another low fee gig like a $2,500 gig. Now at the end of this month, your loved one, your husband, your wife, your dog, your significant other, your brother-in-law, your mom, your cat, looks up at you with those big loving kitty cat eyes and says, Dad, Mom, what kind of speaker are you? You will say, little kitty cat, I have no idea. 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, you tell me. And you are screwed. You are completely and totally screwed, because you're like my client that said, I don't know, am I 1,500, am I 15,000, you tell me. You have lost touch with reality at this point. You're not making the money that you need to make. You're caving on price. All of these things that we've been talking about are starting to happen because you thought that making that $5,000 was better than a $0 day. So this is the turnaround. This is when you decide not to be stupid anymore. And I love you people. I love all of you. Every single one of you. It's time to stop the stupid. So the way you're going to stop the stupid is type in your new fee that you are going to anchor yourself into. If you're a $7,500 person, great. Put 7,500. Put 10K, 12K, 14, 18, 20, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, whatever the number is, and type in one word on how that feels to declare it, claim it, own it, start quoting it, because here's the secret, guys. The moment you start quoting it consistently is the moment you start getting it consistently. I'm going to repeat that while you're typing in your number and your emotion word. The moment you start quoting it consistently and fearlessly and proudly and happily is the moment you start getting it consistently and fearlessly and happily, month after month, week after week, client after client, 75, 75, 75, 75, or 10K, 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 10K. Rain or shine, happy or sad, feel like it or not, because a different number is now leaving your lips. A different number is now leaving your lips. So, Teresa, what are some fees and how do people feel about them?
They're feeling good. We've got a 12.5. We got a 10K proud. 75. Adam says 7,500. Carl says 8,800. Sharon says 7,500. We've got Erica with powerful at 7,500. Margarita says 10K and 15K internationally. John says 5,500 and grounded. A couple of people says scary and exciting at the same time. David says 7,500, good start. 5,500 a day consistently. Feels great, amazing. True says 8,500 means fearless. I love that word. Jen says 8,500 and worthy. Absolutely, Jen. Lisette said 7,000 and committed. Catherine says brilliant. Ooh, 7,500 and I feel like $1,000,000. I love that.
I'll tell you, man, this is the difference maker. You know, people, oh, he's doing the free webinars. It sounds easier than it is. You know, I hate to tell you guys, people pay us a lot of money to help them and mentor them and get them over these blocks. You know, the only difference is that we will help you believe this. Right now, it's like, yeah, it sounds good. You're putting in the box. You know, Carl's going to go and Carl's going to charge someone $2,000 this afternoon. And Susan's going to go and she's going to charge someone $3,000, even though she said 10. And yeah, I'm not picking on you guys in particular. I'm just kind of calling out random names here. But you know, you're gonna wander off the ranch. I hope you don't. I really hope you don't. And people in our program don't. But there's one thing to say it. It's another thing to believe it, and it's another thing to start doing it. So I hope I got my hands together here. You can hear them clapping together. I'm praying. I am praying to the marketing and sales gods that you take this number seriously, because the day you start quoting it consistently and the day you start connecting with the right kind of buyers, with the right kind of language consistently so that these fees become a no-brainer. And we're going to talk about the exact scripting in a second. That's coming up. But as soon as you start doing this, your world will change. And we can help you change it faster, better, smarter. But there's nothing more and nothing less to it than this. Teresa's right. I mean, I truly, in any way, shape, or form, is there anything more or less to what we're teaching and training our clients other than this?
No, you know, it really comes down to belief first, of course. You've got to believe it, and then you've got to do it, and then you start to get it. It goes in that order. And, you know, the only difference between someone who's asking 1,000 and 5,000 is the one that got 5,000 opened their mouth and asked for it and stood their ground and said, I'm worth it. So that belief and that mindset is so, so, so important. And it starts right now. You know, right this minute, you can begin believing that. Go forward and conquer. Conquer these fees.
Absolutely right. So you can type in, you know, that new fee, if you can really embrace that as your new reality, and then figure out the marketing and the sales and the targeting and the prospecting that supports that, your life will change ASAP. So this is about stop paying your dues and start paying your bills. You can literally turn this around in a few weeks. This does not take months and months and years, despite all the other crazy nonsense that you might be hearing out there in speaker marketing land. You know, people say, oh, what does it take to have a successful speaking business? And, you know, the joke answer is 5 years. It's like, well, I used to believe that because it took me 7. So I'm like, yeah, I wish it was 5 years. But, you know, we've had people turn this around in weeks, literally turn this around in weeks. So no more small potatoes thinking, no more small potatoes doing, no more small potatoes fees. Stop treating this like an expensive hobby, guys. This is vitally important. This is your livelihood. This is your profession. So doing okay was not your initial dream when you started. I mentioned that at the top of the masterclass today, right? You wanted to come in here and you wanted to crush it, not tread water financially or just be doing okay. So this always raises the question, well, how much should I be earning? as an expert who speaks professionally, as a keynoter, trainer, speaker, consultant, coach, mentor? How much should I be earning? Here's our answer. Teresa and I are big believers that your baseline first income goal, and many of our clients are past this, but many are just working their way up towards this. We call it doctor money. Doctor money is, according to payscale.com, the average salary of a family physician in the US is $186,600 a year. If you're making less than that right now, we have to talk. And if you're making more than that, but you've been stagnating, we have to talk again. So this is really about up-leveling your internal financial barometer. So Mike Thompson came through our program, super smart guy, 30-year veteran, not his first rodeo, far from it. In his own words, though, he was undercharging and under-earning and looking for love in all the wrong places. He said, I'm tired of hunting wabbits. He said he felt like Elmer Fudd, going from gig to gig to gig, 2,500, 3,500. That was the ballpark he was playing, because that's the ballpark he was comfortable after 30 years. And this guy's written like a half dozen books. He's spoken to over 2 million people, and still he was shortchanging himself with lowballing the fee, and he was on that gig to gig hunting wabbits mode. Here's what he said after. And we really drilled down on sponsorship as his revenue accelerator. One sponsor is talking to me about a $50K program, and another one just signed on for $75,000 a year for 3 years. That's $225,000. I can't say enough about David personally, and his mentoring program made all the difference. I've stopped hunting wabbits, and I'm finally building a real business around my speaking. So again, you could be a couple years in, you could be like Mike and be 30 years in, and it's that one pivot, it's that one shift, it's that one dramatic difference maker in your annual revenue that makes doing okay go away and makes crushing it a reality of that's what you've always dreamed of, that's what you've always wanted. You did not want this to be a hand-to-mouth business. Now, you are not paid hourly. This one really drives me crazy. When I started out, I really looked at fees very, very closely. I looked at the Washington Speakers Bureau, which is the premier speakers bureau in our industry. I browsed around and I found it very interesting. There was never any prices listed, just levels. So I said, okay, well, let me see kind of what these levels look like. I looked up my mentor and my hero, Tom Peters, and I had no idea what Tom Peters got paid for his speech, but I saw he was level 6. So I said, okay, well, what the heck is a level? What the hell does level 6 mean? So, by the way, here's Tom Peters doing a seminar, and here's me doing a seminar. You can obviously see the resemblance. We both like threatening our audiences with violence, and that's the key to our mutual success. Is Tom is about to punch this guy in the mouth. I'm about to punch this poor guy with the yarmulke in the mouth. I'm getting passionate. I'm getting upset. And I love Tom Peters because he also gets very passionate. And it's just funny that we had these photos taken, and I kind of did a 1-2 comparison. And there's Tom, and there's me, and there you go. So, getting back to my story, you're not paid hourly. So, what's level 6? Level 6 is $40,000 and up. I did a little bit more investigation, and it turns out that at that point in time, Tom Peters' speaking fee, it's more now, but it was $50,000. I was like, oh my God. $50,000 for an hour? How could he possibly charge that? Who in the world in their right mind would pay that? And then I started to unpack that he speaks to highly placed executives at big global companies. There's 1,000 people in the audience. I did the math. All Tom has to do is show up for $50,000, 1,000 people in the audience. All he has to do is deliver $50 of value. That's it. $50 of value. So is Tom Peters delivering $50 of value to one executive in that audience around more innovation, more new ideas, better leadership, more collaboration, smarter and better products and services and programs? Is he going to help that one executive with $50 worth of a stronger culture, $50 more employee engagement, $50 of coming up with the next big idea for their company? $50. I was like, wow, this guy needs to charge more. $50,000, that's not enough. And so I had a huge brain shift, guys. This is the brain shift I want you to experience right now. We never charge by the person, but imagine the math if you did. So a little local chapter meeting in your backyard, probably happening 5 to 10 times a week in any given industry. 70 people, 100 people. If you can deliver $50 of new ideas, and by the way, if you can't deliver $50 of new ideas and $50 of value, shame on you, get better material. We can all deliver $50 of new ideas to a single audience member. 70 to 100 people, you should be getting at least $3,500 to $5,000. State association meeting, anywhere from 100 to 300 people in attendance, 5 to 15K, easy. Big national meeting, anywhere from 10K to 125K, piece of cake, no problem. Small conference, 150, 200 people, $7,500, $10,000 par for the course. Easy peasy, natural, easy, comfortable. You'd be stupid to charge less. You'd be stupid to charge less. Medium-sized conference, 250 people, 500,000 people, 12.5 to 125K. Again, can you deliver $50 of new ideas and new value to a single person in that audience? Of course you can. Just do the math, and now this is another way to get an actual, tangible, physical touch with your value. So here's the truth, guys. There's no rules. The rules are there's no rules. You set the rules and you set your fee. But you need to believe, like Teresa said, with the belief and the mindset and the right kind of prospecting, you will get the fee that you deserve. You will get the fee that you deserve. So John Garrett came through our program. John says it's the best ROI a recovering CPA could dream of. I was able to sell more speaking engagements to better clients at consistently higher fees to the point of an 85% increase in income from last year. I booked a $5,500 gig within 5 weeks of starting. Now, I think I saw John on this actual webinar. So, hey, John, it's great to see you. Since then, since giving this awesome testimonial, John has moved up and is now regularly getting $7,500, and many of his gigs are coming in at 10. Let me repeat that. From 55 to 75, many of the newer gigs are coming in at 10 because of his elevation and escalation strategy and getting deeply in touch with the value that he delivers to every client and every audience. So if you know the ROI, if you know the return on investment of your program, you are able to charge and get a much higher fee and then go down this path very quickly of escalation and elevation so that you're actually charging what you're worth. That's so important, guys. Charging what you're worth, charging what they need to pay to take you seriously. Hugely, hugely important. So here's what you really need. If we're going to break this down here, strong, well-packaged topic, clear market need and demand. Third component is what most people are missing. That's why I highlighted that puppy in green. A firm belief in your fee. A firm belief in your fee. And then a questioning plan to uncover the context of value and the contrast of scale. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, the scripting and the sales conversation and what that needs to sound like. Never let your fee be the first number that comes up. Never, ever, ever let your fee be the first numerical digit that comes up in a sales conversation. You always need to set the context of value and the contrast of scale. The way that you do that with an executive, with a decision maker, with an economic buyer, is you simply say, okay, we're thinking about doing a leadership program for about 20 people? Okay, 20 people. I'm just curious, what's the average salary of these 20 people that you're thinking of putting through the leadership program? Oh, it's $80,000. Interesting. So we're looking at moving the needle on about $1.6 million of payroll. So in my head, I'm doing $80,000 salary, 20 people coming through the program, 20 times 80K is $1.6 million of salary that we're looking to impact the performance and the effectiveness and the return on investment of $1.6 million of payroll. If you have anything to do with sales or marketing, ask questions like average deal size. You have anything to do with customer service, ask customer lifetime value. Any of these metrics, right, they will believe their own numbers. They will always believe their own numbers and their own data. And then simply ask, how much would a 5%, 10%, 2%, 1% increase or decrease in these key areas, what would that mean? What would that mean to your bottom line? And then any qualified statement that they make, things like more, less, better, faster, slower, you say, can you put a number on it? 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 Slower means how much slower? What's that costing you? What does that impact the bottom line? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you financially? What does that mean to your bonus? What does that mean to the department? What does that mean to your goals? What does that mean to what the CEO is measuring you against? All of these investigative questions that are data-based and numeric-based will set the context of your fee to be minimal. Because anytime you hear the following phrase, your fee is too high, here's 3 problems it's not. It's not about your fee. It's not about your program. It's not even about their budget. It's about their lack of belief that what you are saying and what you're proposing to them will help them move the needle on the results that they really want. So the best way to avoid that and to avoid that objection is to ask about money and ask about return on investment early and often. Ask about where they are today and where they want to go. And then the magic is in your sales conversation, use what Teresa and I call connective language. Connective language means we're building a bridge to. So for example, if I'm working with a $100 million company and they'd like to be a $150 million company, I will say, so we're building a bridge. This marketing and sales and business development program is really building a bridge to that $150 million of revenue that you want to create. Another way to do that is we're on the road to getting you, right? If you're doing employee engagement, retention, recruiting, any of that, their employee turnover rate is 25%, and they'd love to get that down to 15%. So this program is, we're on the road to getting you down to that 15% turnover, down from 25 that it is today. A third way to say this is we're moving the needle, right? If you're making $5,000 a month and we decide that we'd like to help you get to your goals, we're moving the needle towards that $22,500 a month business model that you can see as clear as the nose on your face, but you don't know how to get there. You don't have the structure and the accountability and the mindset and the skill set to get there. So any of these 3 phrases, we're building a bridge to, we're on the road to getting you, we're moving the needle towards, this is what we call connective language, and it immediately connects their problem with investing in your solution so that your fee is actually dwarfed. So here's the exact script. Once you're done having all of that conversation, you say, for the program that we just talked about, that will improve, boost, create, generate, reduce, slash, solve, fix, whatever problems, heartaches, headaches they just told you were important to them. And give your folks the exact strategies, mindset, and skill set to significantly move the needle on the results you said were most important to you and to your team. I have good news. The investment is only $7,500. So you've been talking now about hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in the context of value and the contrast of scale, saying to get you that first step down the road to the results you want, it's only $7,500. Piece of cake, easy peasy, boom, easy done. In our program, Teresa and I actually will tell you to say $7,500, boom, easy, done, solved. Right? Hire me and we're going to get you that result, right? That's the language that we coach you to say, that we literally have you say, the investment is only $7,500, boom, easy, done. If you're a $10,000 speaker, the investment's only $10K, boom, easy, done. If you're $5,500, the investment's only $5,500, boom, easy, done. And then the ball's in their court. They either want to make it happen or they don't. Because guys, you need to be a better filter of the kind of prospects that you work with. You can't have this long, drawn out, dragged out, painful sales process. You need to separate the sharks from the guppies. The guppies are skimming the surface. They're not serious. They're goofballs. The sharks, when they hear this script, they want to move forward. They want to solve the problem. They want to bring you into their company. They want to hire you for the keynote or the conference or the training or the coaching. They want to make this happen because you're not selling a speech anymore, you're selling an outcome. You're not selling a coaching or consulting gig, you're selling a result. You're selling an end destination. Remember, we're building the bridge to, we're on the road, we're moving the needle. That's what they're buying. They're not buying the speech. For heaven's sakes, please, 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 stop selling the speech. Stop selling the consulting and the coaching. Start selling the outcome. And then it literally will start to be set them up, knock them down, set them up, knock them down. Boom, easy, done. The investment's only $9,500. The investment's only $12,500. The investment's only $5,500. Boom, easy, done. So here's a quick example. One of our favorite clients, Susan Robertson, came to us, very successful consultant, had never really charged any kind of significant money for a speech. And she just said, hey, I think I got one. And I said, okay, this is a confirmed gig. How much are they paying? She says, yes, $7,500. And in the door, within weeks of getting her mindset right, that started to happen. Then 2 weeks after that, she says, I just got a speaking gig I feel sure I would have never gotten if I weren't in your program. It's chock full of prime prospects. I would have done it for free, but instead I'm getting $3,500. So it's a lead generating speech for $3,500. Plus full-length HD video, plus personal introductions to people I target from their list, plus video testimonials. That's a huge win for me for something I would have normally done for free and probably wouldn't have even thought to try to get. And then I say, totally fantastic, huge congrats from me and Teresa. I just handed her the phone to show her your message. So literally from zero speaking fees to $11,000, the $7,500 gig, the $3,500 gig, all within 6 weeks. And then since, again, another elevation, escalation success story, Susan's now charging and getting $12,500 regularly. And she booked a 2-day program at the end of last year for $30K. Booked a 2-day program at the end of last year for $30K. And all because the mindset and the value and the ROI were clear. They were clear to her before they could be clear to her prospect. So always end your speaking fees, by the way, with a $500. $7,500 sounds less than $7,000. $9,500 sounds less than $9,000. It always sounds scary. Here's the puppy pricing strategy. How much for the puppy? He's friendly. He's cute. He's $2,500. If I said this dog was $2,000, oh man, $2,000. That's an expensive dog. $2,500. Boom, easy, done. Piece of cake, no problem. So let's do a quick benchmark check-in. Do you feel this way right now? Is there some lingering doubt in your mind? Only super speakers can charge whatever number you think that you're not worth. I'm not ready. I'm just starting out. I'm not a big name. I don't have a New York Times bestseller. I don't have a PhD. By the way, we've had PhD come through our program. You know what they say? I don't have my second PhD yet, so I'm not worthy. I'm not ready. I can't charge these fees. I don't have a zillion clients. I don't have a zillion testimonials, so I have to undercharge. I never charged more than $1,000, so I guess I got to charge $1,000. Any of these, just type in Y, the letter Y, or the word yes, and I just want to check in. If you still feel this way, type in yes. If you no longer feel this way, type in an N or the word no. If you're willing to let these falsehoods go, type in yes if you're still kind of dabbling in here and you still kind of feel this way. If you're ready to let these go, if you're committed to let these go, if you're decisive, if you're willing to bust those myths and bust those beliefs, that this is only for super speakers and everything I showed you with Glenn and with John and with Mike and with Susan, and all of that doesn't apply to you, right? Then, okay, red pill, blue pill, guys, it's matrix time. Red pill, blue pill, right? Either you still believe this and you're answering yes and you're still committed to being stuck, or you're rejecting this and you're saying no, or hell no, as Teresa likes to say, hell no.
Hell to the no.
So who are some of our people taking the blue pill and who want to see how far the rabbit hole goes and are saying no to this?
Brian says, no, I'm ready to go. He's taking the pill. Hell yes, I'm ready to rock it, Karen says. We got Maggie saying no, Jody saying no, Christy saying yes. We've got Rufus saying yes.
It's not for everybody, guys, not for everybody. But if you're willing to reject this old mindset and start charging and getting the fees that you know you deserve, we should have a conversation because we can make this happen faster than you'll believe. But you have to believe it first, like Teresa said a few minutes ago. you absolutely have to believe it first. It's not gonna show up without you believing it and having that consistency of saying a new number comes out of your lips every time. All right, so whatever that excuse was on this page, only super speakers, I'm not ready, I'm just starting out, I'm not a big name, I don't have, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, as far as your fee is concerned, I would just challenge you, we're not going to type this in, you don't have to type this in, don't worry about it, but is that really true, or could that be false? I would argue that all of those reasons fall away on some close examination. And here's the biggest thing. Buyers, and this is association buyers, corporate buyers, conference producers, everybody. People buy who they are. And you're either selling to Timex or you're selling to Rolex. This is hugely, hugely important. There are people who would never dream of hiring a speaker for less than $5,000. And there are people that would never dream of wearing a Timex watch. So before I bought my Rolex, I was a 20-year Timex wearer. I love my Timex watches. I still have my Timex watches, but now my everyday watch is a Rolex because I made the shift. I made the shift. And so now when it's like, do I get the cheapest or do I get the best? And there's meeting planners and conference producers out there looking to fill their events right now who would never dream of hiring the cheapest and who are always looking for the best. And when you switch to Rolex mode, you're going to turn off the freebie seekers, the freeple, as we call them, the ones that say, come speak for free, come speak for free, it's great exposure, it's great leads, oh no, trust me, and total waste of time. It's the ladies' auxiliary, it's the $200, pizza lunch, it's the church basement. You're going to turn those people off. You're going to repel the cheapies, what we call the cheaple, and you will finally attract your people. The high-fee premium prospects who are not only expecting to pay premium fees, let's break this down for a second, not only willing to pay premium fees, not only able to pay premium fees, they're expecting to pay premium fees. And if you come in as a freebie or a cheapie, as a freeple or a cheaple, they will never connect with you. You will be completely invisible to that premium marketplace. If you're in the Timex aisle, guess how many Rolex buyers you're going to come across? None. If you're in the Rolex aisle, guess how many Rolex buyers you're going to come across? We got to simply change you. We got to get you out of Walmart and get you into Nordstrom's. And my favorite soundbite about this is that you will never convert a Walmart shopper to a Nordstrom's customer. That's from my buddy Mark Hunter of thesaleshunter.com. So you will never convert a Walmart shopper into a Nordstrom's customer. Start connecting at Nordstrom. Start hanging out in Nordstrom's. Start hanging out in the Rolex aisle and not in the Timex aisle. That's what Tony Lucero did. He says, long story short, I picked up 2 coaching clients totaling $32,400, and I'm a retainer for 90 days at $10,000 per month with the company. The reason I'm telling you this is not to boast, but doing the activity that David outlines, focus on what I wanted to attract to my business that allowed the doors to be opened. He moved to the Rolex aisle, and he moved to the Rolex aisle quick. Stay the course, do the work, and know your target market. I believe in you, get activated. And then I replied down below, love, love, love these results, energy, and momentum. Go, Tony. And then Tony says down at the bottom, your program, David, made this possible. Well, you know what made this possible? Timex versus Rolex. Timex versus Rolex made this possible. And then the accountability, structure, mentoring, and consistency to do it week after week, day after day, month after month, rain or shine, feel like it or not, happy or sad, etc. So Tony did the work because Tony gets the credit, but with the structure, with the accountability, with the mentoring, and with the momentum that he got from us. So again, the harsh truth about the Rolex aisle, by charging too little and staying focused on groups who can quote unquote afford your too low rate, you've cut yourself off from the entire top tier of clients who are looking for top tier speakers who charge top tier fees. So getting to 300K fast, that doctor money plus that we talked about, simple math, guys. It's price times quantity equals total. Let's say that you start on the low end here with a $5,000 fee. You want to go out speaking twice a month. That's $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. 2 training days, same rate. That's another 120,000. And let's say you have a $6,000 coaching package. You sell one of those a month. That's 72. 120 plus 120 plus 72. You're already at $312,000. This is not even a lot of sales activity. This is 2 speeches a month, leads to 2 trainings a month, leads to 1 coaching client raises her hand like they did with Tony Lucero, saying, Tony, can you coach me? Do you ever do coaching? Can we work with you one-on-one? Can we bring you into our company? Yes, 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 and yes. And this is not even counting repeat business, referral business, spin-off, book sales, products, online courses if you have those, sponsorship, licensing, none of it. Not even counting any of that. That's bonus. That's extra. On top of that, you don't want to do the training? Great. Do the speaking and the coaching. Now you're at 192K. You're still doing doctor money. You don't really want to do keynotes? Fine. Do training and coaching. That's 120 plus 72. Now you're at 192. And again, doctor money if you're just starting out. If you want to go above and beyond this and do this math with a 10K, 12K, 15K, or 18K fee, imagine where you could be, but you haven't gotten there because you failed to elevate and escalate. So you don't want to do that. If you feel that you've been aiming too low after seeing that very simple math, just type in too low. Because we all have financial goals. Maybe it's the time of year now where you're even setting financial goals. I want you to leave this webinar, leave this master class. I want you to reset your financial goals. If you felt that based on this math that I just shared, it's too low, type in too low in the question box if you've been thinking too low. And that this is doable. This you can work this math. It doesn't have to add up to 312. It can add up to 192. It can add up to 240. It can add up to 252. It can add up to whatever you want it to add up to. But seeing how simple this is with a few revenue building blocks, have you been aiming too low? I just want you to admit this to yourself. Admit this to us. We're not going to call out names necessarily. Maybe it's just me, Teresa. Is it just me that used to be aiming too low early on?
No, it was me, it was you, and it looks like we're in really good company because almost everyone's coming in saying too low, way too low. They love your math better. And the thing I always like to remind people that we like to go for 6 figures, but remember, 999,999 is also 6 figures. So go for it. Go make it happen. If it's 150, 300,000, anything below that is too low.
Anything below that is too low because you're not making doctor money and you're not taking care of your family and you're not bringing in the revenue that you and I both know that you deserve.
The other thing too, David, I want to mention, a lot of people, it's not about the money for me. I hear that on calls quite a bit. It's not about the money. We can always find a place for the extra money we're making when we actually get paid what we're worth. And whether that's in a car or a house or something for you, maybe it's the efforts you want to serve, and it's the philanthropy, and it's the giving back, it's the community support. With extra money, it means extra resource and extra impact in the world. And I know everyone on the phone call today is here for impact in one way or another. So if that has crossed your mind, well, I don't need the money. I don't need that much money. You know what? You do if you want to make an impact. So don't undersell yourself.
Amen. Amen times 10, my friend. Absolutely right. So as we're wrapping up, we're about to go into our Q&A, and we have something kind of cool to share with you here. But, I'm not exactly sure why you showed up today. We always have fabulous rock stars and people coming in at every level. So it could be that you're a seasoned pro. We have a whole bunch of seasoned pros on this call. We have a whole bunch of seasoned pros in our mentoring program. But maybe you're a seasoned pro who wants to get more gigs at higher fees. Maybe you're an expert or an author who wants to speak more and earn more. And that's completely legitimate, and you should, and we can help you with that. Maybe you're a coach or a consultant who wants to turn speaking into clients, and no matter what, you want to simply impact more people to what you just so brilliantly said, Teresa. You want to raise your fees, and most important, you want to get out of low fee and no fee hell, because that's not serving you, and that's not serving your mission, and that's not serving why you're here on the planet. So now you have a choice, my friends. You can, keep doing with the old results and kind of treading water and doing okay and saying, well, I'm not broke and I'm not totally lost and I have some of this dialed in. You can keep being confused. You can keep spinning your wheels, still not earning what you know you deserve in your heart, not reaching that number that we had you declare and claim and own. not reaching the next level of income, whatever that means for you, 200K, 300K, 400K, 500K, can't figure out the password to the secret club of experts who are making great money consistently. And remember, it's the consistently that Teresa and I really want to emphasize. Not once in a while, but month after month, year after year, consistently. And you're doing that because there's no guidance. There's no GPS, there's no accountability, there's no support mechanism, and it's a hard, lonely road. So that can all end today. And what we'd like to do is to help you diagnose what's really going on, find your strategic gaps, help you refocus, reframe, reboot, look at exactly what needs to be fixed in your speaking-driven business with everything that we talked about today. The messaging, the packaging, the positioning, and the pricing that we did a deep dive into today. Your marketing process, your sales process, how you're having those sales conversations and who you're having them with. Fill in exactly what's missing for you to consistently get clients that you love and finally earn what you deserve. And the place to do that is to apply for a breakthrough session with me or Teresa at doitmarketing.com/apply. And I think, Teresa, you're going to pop that into our question box so it's a hot clickable link. And we've got some time today. We've got some time on Tuesday and Wednesday. These calls are always tremendously valuable, and frankly, Teresa and I find them tremendously fun. We have set aside some time. We've actually blocked time on our calendar to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas that we talked about today to your specific business. And the cost of these breakthrough sessions is zero. We like helping people. We like people to implement. We like what we talked about earlier about working with folks who are decisive, committed, action takers. If you're going to book the call and not take action, we don't want to talk to you. But if you want to go to doitmarketing.com, apply, if you've seen the light, if you are decisive, you are committed, this is your time. You know that this is your time. You know that this is your year to make this happen, not because of a resolution, because resolutions are BS, but because of your inner resolve, because you're tired of playing the game and being on the hamster wheel and treading water financially and just doing okay. So I'll tell you who this is not for, very specifically. If building a high-fee speaking-driven business is not your number one priority, please don't apply for these calls. If you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, again, we talked about the dabblers and the hobbyists and the amateurs. This is not for dabblers, not for hobbyists, not for amateurs. This is for the serious expert who wants to speak professionally. It's not for you if you refuse to follow a proven process and if you refuse to take action. We mentioned action takers now 3 or 4 times already. You refuse to change your low-fee mindset and your low-fee business model, it's just going to be 45 minutes of frustration. So you must be coachable. You must be willing to flex and change what you're doing and who you're doing it with and how you're doing it. If you're a fake expert and your program or topic doesn't truly help people and companies improve, we're not going to talk to the shysters and the goofballs and the scammers out there. So we'll immediately disqualify you and cancel your appointment. And if you're down to your last few dollars, in other words, you need to pay the rent this month. Pardon me. This get-rich-quick thing gets me emotional. Or I'm just choking on my lemonade. No get-rich-quick. No get-rich-quick. This is about get-rich-smart. So have people made money quickly? Yes. Is this a get-rich-quick kind of swing like Tarzan in the jungle and go from 0 to 120 miles an hour? No. This is for folks who are already going 50 or 60 miles an hour and we'll get you to 100 or 120. So you can't really be down to your last few dollars and running on fumes. This is for you, and we want you to apply at doitmarketing.com/apply if you are serious, decisive, and committed to making your speaking-driven business more profitable over the next 60 days. Whether you're newer to the speaking world or a seasoned veteran, whether you've got your niche or message fully nailed down or not, because that's part of what will help clarify and help you decide, whether you're in this full-time or maybe you're still doing little corporate gigs, side hustle, whatever it is. We've had tremendous success with people transitioning out of a full-time gig into a full-time speaking business, whether you've gotten lots of paid gigs or just a handful, as long as you're willing to follow a proven process to ramp up your revenue and you take mentorship and direction well, and you want to put 10K to 20K in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days, which our clients have done, and you've seen the stories, you've seen the numbers, you've seen the math, and more importantly, build a predictable flow of clients and cash for that magic of consistency that we talked about. The magic of consistency. So it's doitmarketing.com/apply. Here's why we're doing this. Very simple. On the call, we're going to help you get total clarity about exactly what you want your speaking-driven business to look like and the exact steps that you should take to achieve your goals. If you want our help and if we think it's a good fit, we may invite you to work with us and we may not. Either way, it's going to be the most valuable 45 minutes that you're going to invest in your speaking-driven business to help you get results. That is all available to you at doitmarketing.com/apply. We're now going to go into our Q&A. That link is going to stay active while we're talking. If you're interested in a rapid breakthrough, I would encourage you, every webinar, every time, these always go fast. These always, always, always fill up. We don't want you to wait. We don't want you to say, well, yeah, gosh, someday maybe these appointments were all gone. Maybe I'll, circle back to this whenever. Whenever means never. Let me repeat that. Whenever means never. The word never is built into whenever. You might not have noticed that before, but the end of the word whenever is never. So we don't want you stuck in low fee, no fee hell for as long as you're going to keep going on this. We want to change the trajectory of your business, whether we invite you to work with us or not. Teresa, I want you to talk to this for a minute. I know that I'm losing my voice and you've already lost it somewhat, so you're going above and beyond here with your heroic laryngitis. We are in the trajectory changing business. Whether we invite you into the program, whether you're ready, whether you qualify or not, we want to talk to you to change the trajectory of what you're doing and what you're charging and craft a plan to do much, much better. Teresa, talk about how that is important, that trajectory change, whether we invite people in or not.
What I hear most often is I've never thought about it this way. And the reason most of you are stuck, and I have been there myself, is because I continue to try to do the things I did last year, this year, and I didn't get it last year. So the insanity in that is that I think I'm going to get something different. No. Your thinking has to change. Your perspective in where you're going and how you go about getting there has to change. So this call is all about looking at what's working, looking at what's not working. What are some 5 to 10% shifts that you can consider making that will change things going forward? Clearly, this webinar has been all around pricing, and it's about money mindset, and it's about knowing what you're worth and how to ask for that. And we can go a little bit deeper into that as well. But at the end of the day, what we need to figure out on this call is, where are you now and where do you want to be, and what does that mean for you, and what might it look like if we can get you there? And whether we do it or the call itself gives you that new perspective you need to springboard from, whatever that looks like, the bottom line is, all I ask and all David asks is that you be ready to really make a change. This is not just another nice phone conversation. Come to this call ready to make some key changes in your business and in the way you think about doing your business, marketing your business, and speaking about your fees and your worth. We are Do It Marketing for a reason, and we expect you and the people that we work with to do it too. So we just want you to be resolved and ready and be open for that conversation.
And so I could not have said it better, and so I won't even recap that. But to your point about Do It Marketing, it's not about think about it marketing. It's not about whine about it marketing. It's about implement. Implement, get into action, define and decide. Remember the 2 words stapled to your forehead right now: define and decide. So let's go into our Q&A as people are booking calls, and I'm seeing these appointments come in. That's awesome. That's great. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. What questions do you have about today's teaching? What questions do you have about today's content? What questions do you have about setting and getting the speaking fees that you know you deserve and that some of you are now actually committed to? Because we're watching that question, Bob. We saw who made the commitment. We saw who the believers are. We saw who the folks are who are willing to take a leap. We at this point, you should have the mindset. You should have the scripting. You should have the approach. You should have the confidence and the clarity. If you don't, let's talk. I mean, that's what these breakthrough calls are about. Is, maybe we did it on the webinar. Maybe we need to customize it and tailor it so you get the clarity of how to do this in your speaking driven business. And that's why you're going to doitmarketing.com/apply. But let's focus on the questions for now. And any questions about today's content, any questions about today's teaching, any questions about today's points that we made about setting and getting premium fees from premium clients. And Teresa,
So
what questions are coming in?
Yep, I'm going to take a couple of questions that came in earlier while you were talking, David. Jay has a combo question here. I'm going to try to summarize. So he's really talking about pricing. He says, how important is it if the market and the niche that he's picked hasn't been known to pay at this level, except for people who are celebrities? And additionally, isn't it dependent upon how professional or how perceived you are in the marketplace in addressing that specific speaking topic? He made reference to the $50 a head. So just, I think, clarify for everybody, we're not saying you need to charge $50 per head. However, David, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about how you came up with that, because there's been some questions around that.
No,
so
absolutely.
I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, totally. So the $50 a head example with Tom Peters is purely about your mindset. Remember the big picture of the brain with the electrons flying around. My revelation, the skies opened up, the birds started to sing, the angels, the choir. The revelation was, if I'm Tom Peters and I'm speaking to 1,000 executives at General Electric and my speaking fee is $50,000, all Tom has to do is deliver $50 of new ideas, new value, innovation, creativity, leadership, management, sales, marketing, customer service, whatever it is. And isn't he worth a whole lot more? And then so internally, when I said, oh my gosh, I thought $50,000 for an hour of speech, I thought that was an astronomical speaking fee. I then turned around and I said, you know what? He's not charging enough. $50, heck, he's probably delivering $100 of value. So it's an internal way for us to think about it, to get connected in a different way to the visceral reality of the value. So you're never going to charge in that way. You're not going to say, hey, how many people? Okay, it's $50 a head, right? We're not doing that because we're not selling steak dinners and we're not selling bottles of champagne. So the way to anchor your fee is about that sales conversation about return on investment, right? What's the problem that you're solving? Can you put a number on it? 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 When they tell you that they've got hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of problem and that they want to move the needle on hundreds of thousands or possibly millions of dollars of results, and you say, I have a program that can help you with exactly those problems, how much is it? I have good news. It's only $7,500. I have good news. It's only $9,500. I have good news. It's only $5,500. You have set the context of value and the contrast of scale so that not investing in your program becomes ridiculous. And so the whole Tom Peters analogy was another way for you to get an emotional touch with the fact that if you start undercharging, that is also supposed to be emotionally ridiculous to you. We don't want you out there being emotionally ridiculous. We want you being out there with the emotional and financial reality connected to your fee structure. So if I help someone make $20,000 a month, right? $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. And that program, let's say, costs $40,000. I don't have a program that costs $40,000, but bear with me in this example. I've got a $40,000 program. My ROI after the second month of them implementing what I'm teaching them to do, they have now made that money back plus, over and over and over and over. At the end of a year, if they're making $40,000 a month and times 12 is $480,000, and my fictional program cost $40,000 for them to get into, do I feel good or do I feel bad about charging them a $40,000 upfront fee? Well, I probably feel pretty good about it because I know, you put $40 in the machine and you're going to get back out $480 at the end of the year. So I know that my ROI, my math, my multiplier math is very, very strong. I've got no hesitation and I've got no problem with my fictional $40,000 program. I wish I had a $40,000 program now that I mention it. Teresa, make a note. We need a $40,000 program.
Can we just make it an even 50?
Let's make it an even 50. It's even worth more when it's 50. So that was probably a long-winded answer to a question that nobody asked, but I think it's very important to kind of unpack that psychology around your pricing. And we can do more of that, by the way, on your breakthrough call. If you're really wrestling with this, we can nail that down for you as far as mindset and belief system and business model. Because remember, the business model that we talked about at $55 or $75 or $9,500 a speech, you don't want to leave this masterclass and start undermining your own business model. So book a call at doitmarketing.com/apply, and let's anchor that in reality for you specifically.
All right. Great answer, David. Betsy says, how does the fee correlate to the length of the talk? So full day versus half day. And I think it might be a good place to talk a little bit about local versus international, regional versus national, and some of that taxi driver pricing that you've talked about before, David.
Yes, for sure. So I'm a huge believer, and in our program, our clients immediately convert to single fee pricing. So it's not 1 hour program is this, 2 hour program is that, 3.5 hours is this, half day is that, full day is that, 1.5 days, none of it. It's going to be $7,500 a day, 10 grand a day, 5,500 a day, whatever it is. You want me for 10 minutes? Great, 7,500, 9,500, 12,500. You want me for an hour? Great, same number. You want me for a half day, full day? Same number. Because here's the deal. You have to be in touch with the economic incentives and disincentives of your pricing. I actually want to be at a conference all day. I want them to use me multiple times during the day because I know I will get more repeat and spin-off business. I will build more and better relationship with every member of that audience if they see me there for a full day. Whether that means I'm emceeing the event, whether that means I'm doing a morning keynote or a kickoff seminar, a lunchtime facilitation, an executive session in the afternoon, and moderating a panel at the end of the day, I want them to get a lot of David Newman. So when I charge $10K for that, I'm not going to nickel and dime them and say, oh, the morning session is this, and then the lunchtime panel is that, and then the facilitation is this, and then the awards ceremony is this. I want single stream pricing. And every time that our clients present this, and they almost always get it, what the prospect says, what their new client says is, this is amazing. Every other speaker we were talking to was going to nickel and dime us to death. And then what we teach them to say is, well, that's why you should maybe hire me as your speaker. Because I'm not going to nickel and dime you to death. Once I'm there, and I'm not just there for the speech, I'm there to make your entire event a success. The only other question about, and again, feel free to type questions, guys, as we're going in here. If you typed a question before and we didn't get to it, just retype it because things are flying fast and furious in here. Let me talk about international, local, regional, etc. There's also economic incentive and disincentive to local, regional, national pricing. If you want to stay local and you want, in your business, you want to have an economic incentive to market locally and get gigs locally, great, good for you. Do you have to discount locally? No. The client that has used me the most is 10 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. They've used me 5 times over the past 10 years. I always charge my full fee. They've gone upscale with me. They've moved upstream with me, rather, every single time over that 10-year period. And it's 10 or 15 minutes from my house, depending on traffic and snow. So just the fact that they're local doesn't mean that I discount it. If I wanted to do more local business, and I know the economic incentives and disincentives of my fee schedule, I can put that in place. I personally don't like to travel internationally for business. I love to travel internationally for fun, but I don't like to travel internationally for business. So my international speaking fee is ridiculous, like double what my domestic fee is, sometimes 2.5 times. So continental US, 10K, right? International starts at 25K. I am hoping never to find a client who wants to hire me for 25K to go to Russia or Saudi Arabia or Yugoslavia. And I've gotten these kind of offers, by the way. And I say, hey, it's 25K. And they go, oh, let me check. I'm like, oh, no, please don't. Don't check. Don't check to see if your boss has the money. They come back, Mr. Newman, I am so sorry. We just don't have the budget. We love you. We love your book. Because my book is translated into Russian, into Arabic, into Portuguese. That's awesome. But I don't want to go to Brazil. I don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. I don't want to go to the Middle East. I don't want to go to these places. I certainly don't want to go to Russia these days. And so when I've gotten calls from these countries, I say my international fee starts at 25. If I loved international travel, guess what? For business, I would price it differently. So in my world, I never want a client to come up with 25K. I just don't. I just really, really don't. If they do, I'll be pissed. I'll be really upset. And I'll have to fly to frickin' Saudi Arabia or wherever. I don't want to go. And again, it's nothing against Saudi Arabia, nothing against Russia, nothing against Ukraine or Latvia or whatever. I simply don't like international travel for business. So you get to pick. And again, this is a define and decide. This is a define and decide your business model, your revenue model, your service model, and getting crystal clear and defining and deciding on exactly what you want. And if you want it, you price accordingly. And if you don't want it, like I don't want it, you price accordingly. So your fee structure is both your positioning and your preferences. Teresa, that's pretty good. That's the first time we've ever thought about it that way. But it really is. Your pricing is both your positioning and it's your preferences. And there's built-in incentives and disincentives to your pricing model that you're probably not even aware of. But when you book a call at doitmarketing.com/apply, we can dig into that. For example, why am I getting a lot of training and no keynotes? Why am I getting a lot of keynotes but not enough training? It's probably something to do with what's embedded in your fee schedule as a screwy disincentive that you were not aware of. And we can help you see that and help you fix it.
All right. We've got some questions. I'm gonna kind of pull there's some common themes, so I'm gonna pull them together, guys. I'm not gonna go one.
Do the greatest hits.
Yeah, so True is asking, and a couple of other people are asking really about the nonprofit. How does this work for nonprofit? And not typical topics, so not your average business topic, but more PTSD or things that are a little more severe, mental health and things like that. And I think it goes along with those industries that don't traditionally pay a lot of the fee that we're talking about. So I think the main question is, how does it work in the nonprofit world? Is it any different? And what do you do about some of those non-traditional topics?
Well, so man, there's so much baked into that. We could talk an hour on that, but we won't because it'll be a future webinar. So, two things I want to unpack right away. Every nonprofit, every association is a 501c3 nonprofit association. So the entire association industry is a quote-unquote nonprofit. Nonprofit doesn't mean they don't have money. Even charitable nonprofits, not 501c3, but I think it's 506c1 is a donation-based, mission-based nonprofit, like a fundraising outfit. And then the 501c3 is the membership-based association. Or it's vice versa. I forget which one. I'm not a tax attorney. But either way, right, we are in the business of solving problems. We are in the business of adding value. It's not about, oh, we don't have money. Whenever you hear we don't have money, that means we don't have money for you. That you didn't tap into some urgency, you didn't tap into some relevance, that you missed the mark. And I think the other thing, who's asking this question, Teresa?
True Evans is asking
True.
this
Okay,
question.
fantastic. So, True, here's the deal. The way that you phrased your question belies the fact that you are selling what you want to sell and you are not selling what they want to buy. So the pushback that you're getting is they don't want your stuff, or they're not seeing the direct connection between the relevant, urgent, pervasive, expensive problems that they're experiencing or that their members are experiencing. They're not seeing that as a have to have. They're seeing it as a nice to have, and that's where you're getting the pricing pushback. So another thing that we teach and coach and mentor all the time is how do you stop selling what you want to sell and how do you start selling what they want to buy? And Teresa and I have a nickname for this problem. It's a positioning problem, and it's called foreground background confusion. That you think that the thing that you're selling is the thing that they want to buy, and it's not. It is the background, it's the backstory, it's the rocket fuel, it's what gives you your expertise or experience or credibility, and what they really want to buy is the value, impact, result, and outcome of the transformation that you're selling. But we don't talk about the transformation. That's your problem, that you're not talking about the transformation. You're talking about the stuff, or you're talking about your story, or you're talking about your methodology, or you're talking about your approaches and your tools and your solutions. They don't care about that. They don't care at all about that. That's why you're getting pricing pushback. That's why you're getting the lack of urgency and the lack of budget. If you were having the other conversation about exactly what they wanted to buy and exactly what they wanted to solve, all of this would melt away. And in fact, that's what Mike Thompson experienced. That's what all of our clients experience. But the Mike Thompson example that I shared with you today, specifically, he talks about in his case study video, he talks about as soon as I stopped talking about Dr. Mike and I started talking about them and what they want and where they're going and what they want to accomplish and what's the bridge that they're building to a certain end result, his business took off like crazy. So stop selling what you want to sell, start selling what they want to buy, and then on your breakthrough session, we can talk about how to solve that foreground background confusion problem.
I like to tell people, David, and the gang, people don't want what you do. They want what they get when you do what you do. What is that outcome? What is it that they get in the end? And sell that. And if that is a solution, a compelling solution to the biggest pain point they have, you will have a conversation that you can move forward.
Right. Exactly right. Yep. Perfect.
All right. So Sylvia says, if they still say they can't afford it, what are some negotiating items or negotiating leverage you can use if you still want the gig and have decided it is your target market, you still want to work with them?
Well, okay. So there's kind of, I hate answering this question because it has a huge embedded assumption in it. The embedded assumption is that there is a very good logical reason for you to take a paid speaking opportunity and magically somehow, by random luck, transform it into an equally good lead generating opportunity. So this distinction is something that we probably don't talk about often enough on these webinars. We talk about it very intensively in our mentoring program. It's about proactive versus reactive. So when you reach out, and part of what we do with our clients is we build what's called an active 20. An active 20 is a list of 20 corporations, associations, and groups that you want to get paid by. That is a paid revenue generating opportunity, and you know they have money. You've connected with them in a high value, high relevance manner, and you're having a high touch outreach based sales campaign to get in front of them to ask how you can help them and how you can serve them. The chances that they say, oh, you know what? We don't have any money and we'd love you to come and speak for free. And oh, trust me, there's great leads here for you. The chance that that is factually true is close to zero. So let me tell you where real lead generating speaking comes from. Real lead generating speaking, meaning you are not after money. You're not even after money. You know that these speaking opportunities are simply marketing opportunities, and you have a high degree of confidence that your next 3 to 5 clients are hiding in that audience because you've researched it, you've done your intelligent due diligence, you've done your intelligent prospecting, and you know that's where your buyers are gathering. So for example, if you get an opportunity to speak at an ASAE event, right, the American Society of Association Executives, where all the association decision makers are there, those are 100% of that audience are going to be decision makers or centers of influence. When you go speak at a state ASAE conference or the national ASAE conference, you know that you're probably not going to get paid, and you don't even want to get paid because that's a beautiful lead generating opportunity. You're doing it with that intent, and you're proactively putting yourself in touch with that meeting planner and that conference producer to pursue that gig. When you get a gig over the transom, number one, that's reactive. Number two, it sounds like they don't have money. Number three, they're telling you that it's good for lead generation and you have no idea. You've got no factual basis to evaluate that claim. This is where speakers start to go to hell in a handbasket. Because it's, oh, trust me. No, we have a great audience. The International Association of Lunch Ladies, they hire speakers all the time in their, third grade lunchrooms. No, they don't. They don't, friends. The International Association of Lunch Ladies is not going to be a great lead generating gig for any of you. Now, if they have $7,500, $9,500, $5,500 to spend, it could very well be a very nice revenue generating opportunity for you, and you should take it. But when they say, oh no, we only pay $500, but you definitely want to be in front of our lunch ladies, and you believe them, there's a serious disconnect in the reality matrix that you need to address with the cold, hard light of day and ask yourself, if I'm not getting my fee, and these are not my people, why am I in the room? Why am I in the room? This is not my people, not my fee, not my room. And you say, no, thank you, and you connect them with a referral to, maybe a Toastmasters buddy or a beginning speaker or somebody who doesn't care about running a business that generates money. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Makes perfect sense. And it's important to go over, I think, because there's this assumption that we can just negotiate our way to a decent gig if we just come up with enough stuff. And
Right.
at the end of the day, we need to be paid to be speakers.
That's such a great point, Teresa. There is very little that you can do that will turn a good, let's map this out. This is super important. I'm so glad you guys are hanging out. There's quite a few people still hanging out here, so this is awesome. Very little you can do to take a genuinely good paid speaking gig and transform it into a genuinely good lead generating free speaking gig. They're almost two different animals. It's like, in one area you're hunting zebras, in the other area you're hunting giraffes, and you get a zebra going, no, I'm really a giraffe. It's like, dude, you know what? You're not. You're not. It's about, again, that same thing about Timex versus Rolex, right? Looking for love in all the wrong places. You're not going to transform that Walmart shopper into a Nordstrom's customer, and this is just another flavor of that. So it is genuinely rare that a good fee-based speaking gig magically transforms into a good lead-generating speaking gig. They are almost always very, very different in nature, in size, in type, in audience, in expectation, in everything.
Got it.
That was a great question with a pretty decent answer, I must say.
I got to agree. Good stuff. So Lynn has a question. Do you feel if a client has sponsored you 4 times a year for 10 years, wow, that a 5% increase is acceptable? I had a 3% increase last year, and they kept the fee low to $3,200K for a 2.5-hour evening speech. How would you position the increase, seeing how he's so loyal to my program?
Oh
He's
my
asked for a call to
Lord,
discuss.
no. So crazy question time, my friend. Crazy question time. Teresa, do you remember our client, Michelle?
I do.
So Michelle had a client that I think 12 to 15 months prior had paid her $400. And now
Yep.
she was going back with like a $45 or a $5,500 program. Same client, and she had to have the moving upstream conversation that we teach and coach, and she closed it. So a client that had previously pegged her as a $400 speaker and now talking about a much bigger, more transformative program, and it's now 4,500, 5,500, I forget what the exact numbers were, but it's basically a 10 times increase. So if you're thinking 3%, 5%, my friend, you are totally in small potatoes land. You are never going to get where you need to get with your fee doing 3% or 5% increases. We're probably talking about a 100, 200, 500% increase. I'm not sure what your math is, but if you're coming in at 400, next time it's 4,000. You're coming in at 1,000, next time it's 5,500. You got to professionalize your fees ASAP. We know how to do that. We teach it and we coach it. It is not something that you can take the long, slow, hard, painful road with. You got to jack up the fee where it belongs ASAP. And if that client says no thanks, then they're not your client. But again, if they don't have your fee, they are not your client. You got to believe that in your heart and soul.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, David, that might feel a little like beating a dead horse here, but Roger brings up the point of what about speaking for young presidents organizations and Vistage?
Beautiful. Lead generating speech all the way. And again, that's what Glenn Carver did. I said, Glenn, listen, you got to get on the Vistage circuit. That's the CEO groups that are Glenn Carver's success stories based on. Out of that, he's getting $2,500, $5,000, and $7,500 gigs because he's not worried about Vistage paying him $500 or $1,000. He's playing the lead generating game, and the back end, he's got a strong degree of confidence that every Vistage group will lead to a couple of clients. Every YPO will lead to a couple of clients, and he's working it and messaging it so that that happens. So that's a perfect example of a proactive lead generating strategy that is smart and that works.
Fantastic. All right, I'm just sorting through here, guys. We're coming to the end. We've talked about that. Hang on, there was one more. I got to find it here. You guys are so busy in here.
Massive amounts of people hanging out for the coffee chat.
I love it. I love it.
Now, hopefully that doesn't mean that you're not also booking a call. So open up a fresh tab, people. Book a call. Get into doitmarketing.com/apply. I think today and tomorrow are pretty much gone, and so we might have some time later in this week, either Wednesday or Thursday might have opened up at this point. But yeah, if you want to talk about this in detail and craft your plan and really help you make some of those decisions, coming from a place of commitment, decisiveness, and action taking, we'd love to talk to you at doitmarketing.com/apply. Is there another question, Teresa, floating around or no?
Unless I've missed one. If I haven't asked it, if it hasn't come up, guys, post it really quick. We'll do one more round. Otherwise, I believe we got them all, David. And what a great group. Wow.
Awesome, awesome. So Lynn says, I booked the call. Roger says, looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. Susan, Judith, fantastic. Great, great, great. Lots of good stuff coming in. All right, gang, we will let you get back to your fun. Teresa, pleasure as always.
It's all mine, David.
We're both going to go to the drugstore and pick up some cough drops or something.
Yes, that's my next trip out of the house.
And thank you, everybody, and looking forward to chatting with you on our breakthrough call. We're going to leave that link open for another little bit here. So if you want to go to doitmarketing.com/apply, any remaining appointments for this week should be available. We'll open up some extra days if we need to, and I can't wait to talk to you on your breakthrough call.
Ditto. Have a great rest of your afternoon, gang.